Guys, never argue with a woman. For you to argue with a woman, men, we are linear. Our brains are linear. We think in a line. We think straight. We're more straightforward thinking. Women use both sides of their brains. Women's brains are complex. Guys, we only use one side of our brain, okay? And that's a good thing, but also it's kind of cool for women to have two sides of their brains. The only problem of that is that whenever there's a decision to make, there's always contemplation. Unless they're trained in a certain special skill of some sort, then they go according to protocol. Big difference. Whereas a man on instinct has a linear, driven purpose, goal, or whatever situation he's in. For example, if he's in a situation where it's fight or flight, he's going to make a straight decision, right? Stick to it, good or bad. He'll see it through until he decides, oh, he has to change it or whatever. But it won't be a decision where, what do I do? What do I do? It will be, okay, I'm going to do this. See if it works. Doesn't work, I'm going to switch it. Right? That's how our brains work. So, oftentimes women will pick an argument or get an argument, even if they love you guys, even if they love you, they're going to pick an argument sometimes because they get an emotional response out of you. Women are very intuitive in this sense that they read your emotions, not what you're thinking. They ask you what you're thinking, but they can feel your emotion. The same way if you're not talking to a woman, if you're silent, or if you don't feel confident on a date, women can feel these energies, guys. They can feel that. They're very intuitive. They may not know exactly what it is, but they'll say something's not right. Something's not, and they'll be curious to figure it out. Right? Same thing with a bad boy, any other kind of characteristic that we have. Women will be curious about you until they figure you out. This is why I don't like guys talking too much on the date and spilling their guts out to women, because when women figure you out, guys, it's over. They lose interest because there's nothing to see here, right? So when it comes to arguing with women, never argue with a woman, right? Because if she can get you off your square and create this argument situation where you're arguing with her, you have to get out of your logical mind, your brain, and get into the emotional side of your brain. And it makes it look as if, now you're arguing with her in a feminine way, guys. Oftentimes, when women argue, like I said, it's to get an emotional response. Now, there is a time where it's legitimate argument, but guys, you don't have to argue. You should be listening. Guys, we have a problem with listening. We need to listen more. If a woman's arguing with you and you're not getting along with her, and you've been arguing all the time, stop, let her talk, and listen, guys. You don't need to win the argument. You need to observe, listen, and absorb. She's going to tell you everything you need to know to let you know whether to keep her or not. Now, if it's your fault, she'll let you know whether or not you'll know whether or not to adjust and change. Because if it's your fault, you have to man up, right? But the idea here is to not get out of your logical brain into the emotional brain, because now both of you are in your feminine, right? And if you're going to be a alpha and a strong leader, you need to let her argue or whatever. You're going to listen. And then when she's done and gets all the emotions out of her, women need to get the emotions out, guys. They have all the stuff built in. They let things go. They don't talk about it or whatever, and it builds up. After it builds up a certain amount of time, guys, they just spill out their guts. That's why a lot of times you get an argument and you say, well, what's this coming from? What are you talking about? I did this. That was 3 years ago. This was 2 years ago. That was 3 months ago, because they still remember, right? The emotions are still inside. They got to pour it out at some point in time. And all of a sudden, one little thing you do, everything comes out. That's why it seems over the top sometimes. You go, what's all this coming from? We was just having a great time. We just got out of bed and whatever. And that's the reason why, guys. It's they got an opportunity to spill their guts, to let it all out. Let them pour it all out. Listen. Boom, boom, boom. Listen. When they're done, boom. Repeat some of the words back. Say, okay, so this, and that. Here's what we're going to do. You have to have a resolution ready, guys. That's why you should be listening and have a resolution ready. Because the minute you start arguing with her, you have no emotional masculinity. Your emotional maturity, when it comes to control of your own self, i.e. self-control, you lose out. She can say all this stuff, and then she'll hear herself later. She'll take a breath If you listen long enough and let her talk, she'll say da 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 ba 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 ba, and then you just say to her, "Done? Anything else you want to talk about?" She'll say, "No, that's it." And then you continue on. Then you put your agenda out there gently, guys. But you stay steady and stay on your path. This is what we're going to do. Boom. Get your coat. We're getting dinner. Let's go here. We're doing that. Boom, boom, boom. You understand? You acknowledge what she said. You bring some of the words into conversation with her and get an understanding with her. And then you stand forth and move on. Oftentimes they need a hug or need a little appreciation or some reassurance, guys. That's where a lot of this comes from. Give them that. Move on. You'll be the man. Okay? Let her talk. Let her spill it out. You don't have to be right, guys. If you want to be right, don't argue. You want to be right, I'm going to say it again, don't argue. Listen. Right? It'll tell you a lot of information when you listen, guys. You will learn a lot. Like, subscribe, comment below. When you have your family, you know I got you. Excel, and I'm out.